You just finished your big presentation, just got off Zoom, and they were raving about it. It was super exciting. People were going crazy. You had a table rush at the end, meaning like everybody who came, a huge percentage of them ended up buying. How exciting. You go home or you go into your house if you work from your home, and you take a big, nice relaxation night and you go to bed happy because you just brought a bunch of people in to your program and you are ready and they're ready. And it is just an absolute high and you're feeling good. Your bank is full and your people are there. And what more could you look forward to? You go to bed and the next morning you wake up and you kick everything off. And only like a small percentage of people actually show up. They were so excited. Where are they? And then slowly but surely it continues to decline. Less and less people show up, less and less people engage, and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? How do I fulfill on my promise if everybody's leaving? Why won't they just do the thing? Your stuff is brilliant. What's wrong with them? But you keep continuing to fix it. You keep trying to get them engaged. No matter what you do, you just don't quite know what the problem is. And you're scratching your head of like, is this even worth it? Am I going to lose money? Is my reputation going to be damaged because people aren't actually doing the thing? And then deep down, you kind of also have this feeling of like, can I actually even teach this thing? I don't know. Today, we're going to be talking about a very powerful tool called the Journey Pipeline. You might have heard of a pipeline, but traditionally, if you've been in the marketing space, you've usually heard about it from a perspective of a sales pipeline. This is going to be a difference and a little twist on what you may know about sales pipeline, and it's something that we call the Journey Pipeline. If you have heard of a sales pipeline, you're going to be able to use some of that knowledge. If you've never heard of a sales pipeline, don't worry. We're going to do a breakdown of exactly what this powerful tool is and how you can use it to not experience the stops and the drops in your membership experience. Before I go into what a journey pipeline is, I want to tell you a story. So a few years back, I was traveling in Washington, D.C., and I went to one of my favorite places in the entire world, the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress, if you haven't been there, is an amazing place that houses some of the best minds and ideas and books and resources in the world. When you walk into the Library of Congress, it's just breathtakingly beautiful with its architecture. But I think even more importantly is that they're always offering different exhibits, almost like a museum. They're offering different exhibits for education purposes. On this particular day, I had no idea that this was going to happen. I walk into the Library of Congress. I'm on this random vacation. And I always go to the Library of Congress when I'm there because it's an amazing place. And they hand me this little booklet. And the booklet is called The Passport to Knowledge. Okay, first of all, kudos to the marketing people who did that. That was awesome. But back to the story. So they hand me this book, the Passport to Knowledge. And so then the idea of this particular exhibit is that I go and I take my passport and it has a series of kiosks all throughout the exhibit. And every single place that I stop, I get to scan my passport with a little barcode and then I get to stamp it. And so I get to be able to see all along the way what I've done inside the exhibit. This alone would have been cool and a great experience. But what put this over the top and why I'm using it for this story is because it crafted a journey after I left the Library of Congress. So when I left, on my way out, we get this little tiny token and it basically says, continue your journey in the online Library of Congress. So sure enough, as soon as I got back, I pulled up my computer and I put in the little code that was connected to my passport. And right there on the screen, they had a journey mapped out for me based on what I had plugged in at each of the kiosks and said that I liked. And it gave me a specific learning path that now I could take and continue the journey with the exhibit and with my learning inside the Library of Congress. Coolest thing ever, so amazing, and it perfectly exemplifies the concept of a journey pipeline. Let me break this down just a little bit using this story. What is a journey pipeline exactly? So a journey pipeline is, by definition, and this is our definition, is a special pipeline that helps you track where your customers are in the journey that you have created for them, and it allows you to quickly respond to spikes and drops in engagement. And by the way, if you don't have a journey that's mapped out, we can totally help you with that. Come on over to Geek Out. We got you. The anatomy of a journey pipeline is very specific. So a journey pipeline, it has a clear start and a clear end of where you want your people to go. So in my Library of Congress example, for instance, I started at the very front door of the Library of Congress and I entered into the exhibit. I had a clear, step-by-step sequence of the kiosks. And at the end, it gave me a token. Now, that wasn't actually the end. It continued on. But for that particular part of the journey, that was the clear end. Now, in each one of those, every time that I hit a kiosk, that would be the second part of the anatomy of a journey of pipeline, and that is what we call the milestone, the thing that you intentionally created for them to engage with. Now, in a journey pipeline, every time that I, as a customer, goes through it, it's what's called an opportunity for that company, for the Library of Congress, to spread the information and to get me as a citizen to consume what they are producing for our country and for anybody actually who joins, not just our country. And so that's what's called an opportunity. I am an opportunity. So those are the basics of a journey pipeline. Now, those might be familiar because those are very similar concepts as a sales pipeline, but there are two other additional things that are really important inside of a journey pipeline. They are the engagement signal. So this is something that is actually letting me know, did they reach that milestone? So every time that my passport went into the kiosk in the particular exhibit, that was the engagement signal. That was the signal back to say, hey, I reached this milestone, right? And then the second really important part in a journey pipeline anatomy is what we call the nurture boost. So these are the automations and the different things that we can do to inject momentum, to inject support, to inject celebration, to inject all the things that we would umbrella call nurture. So in this particular case, whenever I, at the kiosk itself, scanned my passport and I got the stamp, that was a nurture boost, a physical nurture boost. But then what happened is that signal went up and I actually got an email that celebrated me accomplishing that particular milestone. So a nurture boost via an email came in. Now, this was back in the day, and I'm sure they probably would have text messaged me had I'm probably dating myself, but at the time, email was all they had. So that was the nurture boost that they sent. Now that we know this, that the anatomy of a journey pipeline has a clear start and a clear end, definite milestones along the way. Each of those milestones support customers, which are opportunities for the business. And then every single milestone has an engagement signal that tells me the person did the thing, and a nurture boost so that we can celebrate, support, and just encourage the person to continue to go on the journey. And then basically the pipeline is just a continuation of that. So every milestone has an engagement signal, it has nurture boosts that are associated with it, and me as the customer, I get to just move along that journey pipeline as I see every single signal along the way. That is the basic anatomy of a journey pipeline. You might be saying, Andrea, this is great, but I need another real world example because your passport at Library of Congress is awesome, but I'm in the marketing world and I need a real world example. So let me give you one. So we were working with a client and they had just done a 3-day challenge. And at the end of the 3-day challenge, they promoted a $30,000 program. They had 35 people that came into the program. So that was their first $1 million day. So exciting. Everybody was so excited. We had worked our tails off at that. We knew exactly what we invited them into. So the next day, we're ready to start, right? And it's what we call a sprint model, meaning that every week there's something to focus on. It is super bite-sized, really focused, but we knew that we had crafted it with a very clear intention of getting people a quick win. So it is a 8-week program. So we enter into week 1 and we see 80% engagement, which is awesome, right? Because we developed a really cool program and some drop is normal, but compared to the average of 1% engagement, 80%, pretty dang awesome. So we see an 80% engagement at that milestone 1. We're seeing the engagement signals coming in. We're sending out the nurture boosts. Everything is going great. Everyone's loving it. We're seeing a lot of excitement, etc. Okay, enter into week 2. We're looking at our journey pipeline and we're saying, are we seeing the same? Like, are we seeing everybody move? Is everybody going to the milestone 2? Sure enough, we start seeing the engagement signals in. And again, we're at like 75% engagement. So we're still holding pretty true. 80%, 75% engagement, that is well above average. And we're feeling pretty good. We're feeling like we're fulfilling on the commitment of this very high ticket program. Okay, week 3 happens. And all of a sudden, we're looking, we're trying to see the engagement signal, we're seeing if people are moving over, and we see they go from 75% engagement to 30% engagement. Houston, we have a problem. Something is wrong at our milestone 3. We're not seeing the intended engagement signal in the time frame that we want to see it. So immediately that Monday, because normally on Sunday was when they submitted their stuff. So that Monday we powwowed with the leaders and we're like, okay, we didn't see the signal come in. It was a significant drop, right? I mean, 40% drop. That's huge. So that's us. That's not them. That's us. So we're like, okay, what do we got to do? So we went back through and we looked at the micro engagement signals and we're like, ooh, okay, they got stuck on this one question. And this one question was a hard one. It was emotionally hard. It was cognitively hard. It was a hard question. So we're like, okay, what can we do? So immediately the leaders held 2 workshops that week that specifically focused on that question. And again, we come back in, we're looking for the signal after that little nurture boost, right? So after that nurture boost, we're looking for the signal, and then boom, we got back up to 65% engagement from a drop down from 40%, right? That's huge. And then the next year, when we went to that particular milestone, we recrafted it. And instead of having to do the emergency workshop, we just inserted that workshop in there. And we were able to keep and maintain about a 60% engagement at that milestone. And again, that is what the power of a journey pipeline gives you, is when you make big promises and you get a pretty big price tag from a lot of customers, you have an obligation to help them do the thing. And if 40% of them are not doing it, that's you, not them. So a journey pipeline can help you be able to say, okay, I'm looking for this intentional engagement signal that I created for my customers. And if I don't see it, I'm going to inject nurture boosts in the moment so I can help to increase the engagement. And next year, I know what I need to do better. All right. Great example, super fun. The program actually ended up to be a really great success, and we had some really good wins from it, and we were able to accomplish ultimately the thing we were trying to accomplish in that small little sprint. So for all of you automation geeks out there, and you're hearing this and you're familiar with sales pipeline, your natural question may be, how do I do this? What do I do to make this happen? Today's video is not a how-to. It was more to teach you the overall concept of a journey pipeline. We do teach journey pipeline. We're going to produce different YouTube videos that help you understand it better. But at a super, super high level, most systems, most CRM systems have a pipeline. Oftentimes you might hear it called opportunities or deals. So in ActiveCampaign, for instance, there's a concept of a deal. And so then they have a deal pipeline. In ClickFunnels 2.0, which is what we use, it's called opportunities. Inside opportunities is the pipeline. You can create a journey pipeline where essentially you say the first milestone is they bought, then you go ahead and insert all of your milestones, and then the opportunity, aka the customer, the opportunity for your company, goes in as a card, right? And then inside, especially the ClickFunnels 2.0, they make it super easy. They put the nurture boost right there on the milestone level. So you can just create it and you can send out emails and DMs and message, social messaging in order to do your nurture boost like you normally would. There's a ton of other automations that you can put in there, but that's again for a later video and a deep how-to. The basic structure of the pipeline is important. And even if you have no automations, just for your ability to be able to physically see that they did the thing and then move them, that's a powerful tool inside of your program. Now, if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated, in order to get like, well, how do I actually have an opportunity, move from milestone to milestone based on the engagement signal I see? Again, that's going to be in a later video where we're going to do a how-to. There's lots of different ways that you can do that, but essentially, as long as you have your pipeline created, your journey pipeline created, and you have a clear intention of what you're supposed to be looking for, then the automation comes secondary. The technologies will support your vision. That's when technology gets powerful, is when you have a clear vision of the journey you actually want your people to take. So if you do nothing else with this video, create your journey pipeline. Create what are those key milestones and what are those engagement signals that you're looking for. Come into your CRM system, make those milestones in the technology, and then even if you're manually moving people to be able to see those, once you see those signals, you now have a powerful tool to be able to track and know what to do when you see low engagement happening. So bottom line, if you're running a webinar, a mastermind, a challenge, or any kind of event where you're inviting people into a program and you go and you open those doors and you bring them on in after they purchase, you want to be able to see them engaging with your things, excited about your things, and having a great experience with the intended journey that you crafted for them. A journey pipeline can help you do that. Today's video gave you an overview. If you want to learn more, come on over to Geek Out. We talk about this stuff all the time in our Facebook group, and we will continue to produce more videos. And go ahead and give us any questions that you have. If you're crafting great journeys, we always love to geek out on great journeys. So go create your journey pipeline and be able to see the amazing engagement that you've crafted for your people.